They always saw her as weak. Easy to overlook. Easy to pick on. Monica sat quietly in the corner of the cafeteria, her wheelchair tucked close to the table. Her lunch was untouched, not because she wasn't hungry, but because she was used to the whispers and stares that came with simply existing. Born with a condition that affected her legs, Monica had spent most of her life moving through hallways that weren't made for her, both physically and socially. High school made it worse. "Why are you even here? You can't even climb stairs," one girl had sneered just last week, flicking Monica's tray as she walked by. Her name was Madison, the ringleader of the cheer squad and self-appointed queen of the school. Her words weren't sharp because of what she said, but how she said it, like Monica didn't belong, like she was beneath them. And Madison wasn't alone. Jake, one of the basketball players, once mimicked Monica's movements in front of the entire gym, thinking it was the peak of comedy. Everyone laughed. Even the teachers didn't step in. They all just looked away. But Monica didn't cry. Not in front of them. What no one knew was that Monica had been preparing. Not for revenge. But for something far greater. And it all started with a flyer she saw on the bulletin board that read, "Open Martial Arts Class, All Abilities Welcome." Monica stared at the flyer for a long time. All abilities welcome. Those 3 words felt like an open door, the first one in a long time. That evening, she showed the flyer to her mom, who looked hesitant at first. "Are you sure, sweetheart? It's not going to be easy." Monica nodded. "That's exactly why I have to do it." The next week, they rolled into a modest dojo on the edge of town. The instructor, Sensei Darren, didn't blink when he saw her wheelchair. "You're here to learn?" he asked. "I'm here to fight," Monica replied, with a quiet determination that even surprised her mom. He smiled. "Then let's get to work." The training was brutal. Every movement had to be adapted. Every technique reshaped for her body. But Sensei Darren never treated her like she was fragile, and Monica didn't want him to. Weeks turned into months. The dojo became her sanctuary. She learned how to strike with her arms, to defend from her chair, to flip her attackers using leverage and precision rather than strength. Her body grew stronger. But more importantly, her mind sharpened. She no longer carried the weight of other people's opinions. At school, the bullying hadn't stopped. Madison still rolled her eyes. Jake still made the occasional joke. But Monica no longer flinched. She was waiting. Not for payback, but for the moment. And that moment came faster than she expected. It started with a challenge. A cruel one. Madison cornered her in the hallway with her phone already recording. "You think you're so tough now? You gonna karate chop me from your chair?" she laughed. A crowd gathered. Phones came out. Someone even shouted, "Let's see what the warrior girl's got." Monica looked up. Calm. Still. And then she slowly wheeled forward. "You really want to find out?" The hallway went dead silent. Madison blinked, taken aback. She hadn't expected Monica to talk back, definitely not like that. But Monica wasn't bluffing. Not anymore. Madison scoffed. "You think you scare me?" she said, stepping closer, towering over her. "You're just..." Before she could finish, Monica's hand snapped up, not to strike, but to block. Fast. Controlled. The kind of movement you don't expect from someone who's been underestimated their entire life. Everyone flinched. Even Madison took a step back. "I don't need to scare you," Monica said quietly. "But I will defend myself." Jake, watching from the crowd, laughed nervously. "Oh, come on. What's she gonna do? Will us to death? Big mistake." Monica turned her chair slightly and addressed the crowd. "You all think strength comes from walking around like you own the place. But I've been building mine in silence. I train every day. Not to hurt people, but to protect myself from people like you. For a split second, Madison looked like she wanted to say something else. But she didn't. She just stood there. Speechless. The bell rang. Students slowly started to walk away, murmuring, whispering, watching Monica in a different light. No one laughed. No one cheered. But respect, real respect, had just entered the room. And Monica? She simply turned her chair and rolled toward class. No smirk. No gloating. Just quiet, powerful confidence. Later that afternoon, someone slid a note into her locker. Sorry. You were right. Can we talk? Jake. Monica stared at the note from Jake, turning it over in her hands. It wasn't an apology she expected, and definitely not from him. The same guy who once laughed the loudest now wanted to talk. She tucked the note into her bag and didn't respond. Not yet. That afternoon at the dojo, Sensei Darren noticed she was quieter than usual. Something on your mind? He asked as she practiced her blocks. She nodded. People are changing how they look at me. I'm not invisible anymore. But I'm not sure if it's real, or just guilt. He knelt beside her, meeting her eye. Let them wrestle with their guilt. You. Keep growing. They're not used to someone like you standing tall in their own way. That shakes people. That night, she finally messaged Jake. You want to talk? Tomorrow. Library. Lunch. He showed up early. Alone. No camera. No friends. Just him. Jake looked nervous, a first for him. Hey, thanks for meeting me. Monica sat across from him, arms folded. Say what you need to say. He looked down. I was wrong. About everything. I thought being loud made me strong. But when you stood up to Madison, you didn't even raise your voice, and the whole hallway felt it. That was real strength. Monica said nothing. She just waited. I don't expect you to forgive me, he continued. But I'm done being part of the problem. I want to do better. She nodded slowly. Doing better starts with actions. Not just words. Jake nodded, eyes sincere. Then I'll prove it. And he did, in a way that no one saw coming. The very next day, he signed up for the school's Unity Club, the same one Monica helped restart. And when the annual school talent showcase came around, he asked Monica to perform with him. The crowd had no idea what was coming. The announcement for the school's annual talent showcase lit up the hallway bulletin board, and this year it was bigger than ever, with local news covering it and scholarships on the line. Jake approached Monica the morning sign-ups opened. I want to perform with you, he said. Monica blinked. You what? He scratched the back of his neck. Look, I know I'm still earning back your trust. But I saw your training video online, yeah, that one from the community dojo's fundraiser, and it was incredible. You've got real power, and people need to see it. She hesitated. You sure this isn't just for attention? He shook his head. No. I want people to listen for once. I figured, maybe if we combine what I do, spoken word, with what you do, it could be something no one forgets. Monica studied him for a moment. Then slowly smiled. All right. Let's shock them. Over the next 3 weeks, they rehearsed in secret after school. Jake wrote verses that reflected Monica's journey, the way people labeled her without ever knowing her, the strength that grew in silence, the power of showing up when the world doubted you. Monica choreographed every movement, strikes from her wheelchair, spins, defensive rolls, all synchronized to his rhythm and flow. Each motion told a story, her story. The night of the performance, the auditorium was packed. Even Madison sat in the front row, arms crossed, smirking like she expected a disaster. But when the spotlight hit the stage, Jake stepped forward, mic in hand, voice steady, they laughed while she stayed quiet. They mocked what they didn't understand. But while they pointed fingers, she trained her mind, her heart, her hands. And then Monica rolled in. Confident. Focused. Each martial arts movement cut through the silence like lightning, matching every line. Gasps filled the room. Then silence. Then thunderous applause. Even the principal stood up. But the biggest shock wasn't the performance. It was the standing ovation from Madison. Monica almost didn't believe what she was seeing. Madison, the same girl who used to trip her in the hallway, who made a career out of cruel jokes, was standing. Clapping. For a second, their eyes met. And Monica saw something unexpected behind Madison's smirk. Was it respect? Or maybe shame? The performance ended with Jake raising Monica's hand like a champion. Cameras flashed. The crowd roared. Backstage, Monica was still catching her breath when Jake came over, grinning. "We did it." She nodded. "We really did." That night, the video of their act went viral. The caption read, "Girl in a wheelchair delivers unforgettable martial arts performance, you won't believe her strength." Thousands of views. Then millions. Comments flooded in from around the world, "She's a role model. I showed this to my daughter, now she wants to join martial arts. She turned pain into power." The next day at school, everything felt different. Teachers smiled at her with something more than politeness, it was admiration. Students who never spoke to her before gave her high fives in the hallway. But the biggest surprise came when Madison approached her at her locker. "No cameras," Madison said, holding up her empty hands. "Just me." Monica shut her locker and waited. "I watched the video again," Madison said quietly. "And I realized I've never felt that strong. I think I picked on you because I was insecure. That's not an excuse, but I wanted to say it." Monica studied her for a long moment. "So now what?" Madison exhaled. "I want to do better. Maybe you could teach me." The girl who once bullied her now wanted to learn from her. Monica smiled. "Meet me at the dojo after school." Madison blinked. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." Because Monica had learned something powerful, sometimes the best way to win is by rising so high that others want to follow. Monica almost didn't believe what she was seeing. Madison, the same girl who used to trip her in the hallway, who made a career out of cruel jokes, was standing. Clapping. For a second, their eyes met. And Monica saw something unexpected behind Madison's smirk. Was it respect? Or maybe shame? The performance ended with Jake raising Monica's hand like a champion. Cameras flashed. The crowd roared. Backstage, Monica was still catching her breath when Jake came over, grinning. "We did it." She nodded. "We really did." That night, the video of their act went viral. The caption read, "Girl in a wheelchair delivers unforgettable martial arts performance, you won't believe her strength." Thousands of views. Then millions. Comments flooded in from around the world, "She's a role model. I showed this to my daughter, now she wants to join martial arts. She turned pain into power." The next day at school, everything felt different. Teachers smiled at her with something more than politeness, it was admiration. Students who never spoke to her before gave her high fives in the hallway. But the biggest surprise came when Madison approached her at her locker. "No cameras," Madison said, holding up her empty hands. "Just me." Monica shut her locker and waited. "I watched the video again," Madison said quietly. "And I realized I've never felt that strong. I think I picked on you because I was insecure. That's not an excuse, but I wanted to say it." Monica studied her for a long moment. "So now what?" Madison exhaled. "I want to do better. Maybe you could teach me. The girl who once bullied her now wanted to learn from her. Monica smiled. Meet me at the dojo after school. Madison blinked. You're serious? Dead serious. Because Monica had learned something powerful, sometimes the best way to win, is by rising so high that others want to follow. The once quiet dojo now echoed with energy. Monica stood at the front, not just as a student, but as an assistant instructor. Sensei Darren had officially given her the title after months of mentoring younger students and inspiring a flood of new sign-ups. Among them, Madison, Jake, even two of the teachers from school. Word had spread fast after the showcase, not just about Monica's performance, but about her spirit. She had been invited to speak at local schools, community centers, even a televised youth empowerment summit. Her speech always began the same way: I wasn't born to prove people wrong. I was born to prove myself right. The same school where she was once mocked now had a framed photo of her in the front office, captioned, "Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes, it rolls in quietly, and leaves the world speechless." But Monica didn't care about fame. What mattered most was the little girl in a wheelchair who rolled into her class one afternoon, eyes wide, holding a flyer that said, "All abilities welcome." She reminded Monica of herself. And when the girl asked nervously, "Do you think I can be strong too?" Monica smiled, knelt down, and whispered. Monica wheeled onto the stage of a packed university auditorium, now wearing a sleek black blazer over her GI. Behind her, a giant screen lit up with her name beneath the words, "Keynote Speaker, Youth Resilience Summit." She paused at the podium, the same calm presence she once carried down high school hallways now magnified 100-fold. "I used to think my wheelchair was a limitation," she began, her voice steady. "But it wasn't my legs that held me back, it was other people's small expectations. Once I stopped carrying their opinions, I started building something stronger: self-worth." The crowd sat in awe, students, educators, parents, even national press. Among the audience were familiar faces. Jake, now mentoring younger spoken word artists. Madison, wearing a Unity Club t-shirt and helping organize accessibility programs at her college. Sensei Darren, seated proudly in the front row. After the speech, a reporter approached her backstage. "Monica, what would you tell someone who's being underestimated right now?" She smiled. "Don't waste energy proving them wrong. Just keep becoming who you know you are. One day, they'll look up, and realize you were unstoppable all along." That moment was captured in a photo. It went viral under one caption: "Bullied, mocked, ignored, now she inspires the nation." And somewhere out there, in a quiet town, a girl watched that video from her hospital bed and whispered, "That'll be me someday." And Monica? She had no doubt. Because true strength isn't measured in steps, but in how far you rise. The sun streamed through the windows of a brand new community center, a place that didn't exist 2 years ago. But now, etched in gold across the front doors were the words, "The Monica Blake Empowerment Academy." Yes, Monica had done it. With the help of donations, sponsors, and the viral momentum of her story, she opened a center dedicated to youth empowerment, self-defense, and leadership, specifically built to welcome everyone, regardless of physical ability. The first class had over 100 kids enrolled. In the front row, that same little girl from a year ago, now sporting a white belt and the biggest smile you've ever seen. Monica moved through the mats with grace, strength, and a presence that silenced rooms, not with fear, but with awe. She paused beside the girl and adjusted her stance. "There. That's it. Perfect balance." The girl looked up. "You think I'll be as good as you someday?" Monica laughed gently. "I think you'll be better." As the class ended, applause echoed through the training hall. Reporters were outside again, asking questions. TV crews wanted interviews. Offers rolled in for books, documentaries, and speaking tours. But Monica always said the same thing: this academy is the real story. I just want to build a world where no kid has to earn basic respect. They should start with it. And then, one evening, something unexpected happened. Madison, now a friend and part-time coach at the academy, brought a guest. Her younger cousin, a boy who used to be loud, rude, and always trying to act tough, stood quietly at the edge of the mat. He's been getting into trouble, Madison admitted. But I thought, maybe this place could change him. Monica gave a small nod. You came to the right place. Because this wasn't just about self-defense anymore. It was about healing, growth, and rewriting the future. And Monica was leading the way. 3 years after that humiliating cafeteria moment, the one that started it all, Monica returned to her old high school. This time, not as a student, but as the commencement speaker. She rolled onto the stage in front of hundreds of graduating seniors, faculty, and parents. The same auditorium where she'd once been ignored, was now filled with people hanging on her every word. She paused before speaking. Not because she was nervous, but because she was remembering. Every insult. Every whispered laugh. Every moment she wanted to disappear. And then, every single step she took, not with her feet, but with her will, to rise above it all. Some of you know me, she began. Some of you used to laugh at me. Some of you stood by and said nothing. And some of you, a few brave ones, eventually stood with me. She smiled, her voice calm and unwavering. I forgave you. All of you. Because I didn't want to carry your smallness on my shoulders. I was too busy making space for my greatness. The crowd erupted in applause. Students stood. Teachers wiped tears. Even the principal, who once avoided confrontations, clapped with full force. After the ceremony, a group of younger girls approached her, eyes wide, voices shaky. You're the reason I joined the dojo. I started a club because of your speech last year. I don't let people push me around anymore. Monica knelt slightly, eye level with each of them. Don't be like me, she said. Be better. And as the sun set behind the school, Monica took one last look at the campus that once tried to break her. And smiled. Not out of revenge. Not out of pride. But because she knew, she had won. This is the true ending. Monica sat at her desk in the office of the Empowerment Academy. The walls were covered with framed photos, snapshots of milestones, articles from national news outlets, even a certificate from the governor's office declaring Monica Blake Day, in her honor. But the centerpiece was a simple, hand-drawn crayon picture. It showed a girl in a wheelchair with a black belt around her waist, standing tall, in her own way, in front of a group of smiling kids. Drawn by one of her youngest students. Signed in shaky handwriting, to Miss Monica, my real-life superhero. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she smiled. Not from sadness, from completion. Her journey, from being mocked and ignored, to standing tall and leading, wasn't just about personal victory anymore. It was about planting seeds. That day, she was scheduled to speak at an international youth summit via live stream. The topic? Turning pain into power. She adjusted the camera. Looked straight into the lens. And began, there was a time when I believed silence kept me safe. But silence just gave bullies more room to grow. I found my voice. And when I did, I didn't just speak up. I lifted others up with me. Her words echoed through screens across the world. And in bedrooms, classrooms, and hospitals, young people took a deep breath and whispered, if she can, maybe I can too. Monica didn't just overcome. She became a movement. And the world would never forget her name.